Ryan had always thought he would choose his own wife. At 28, he worked as a computer programmer for a tech company downtown. He had his own apartment, a decent car, and what he thought was plenty of time to find the right person. But his parents had different plans. It started on a Sunday evening when his mother called him into the living room. His father was sitting in his usual chair, looking serious. Ryan knew something was up because his mother had that look on her face. The same look she got when she was about to tell him something he wouldn't like. "Son, we need to talk," his mother began, settling into her chair across from him. "You're not getting any younger, and we're worried about you." Ryan rolled his eyes. Here we go again, he thought. This conversation happened at least once a month. His parents were always asking about girlfriends, about when he would settle down, about giving them grandchildren. He had dated plenty of women, but nothing ever seemed to stick. Either they wanted to move too fast, or he got bored, or there was always something that just didn't feel right. "Mom, I'm only 28. "There's no rush," he said, trying to keep his voice calm. His father cleared his throat. "Ryan, your cousin Tony just got married last month. He's 2 years younger than you. And your friend from college, what's his name?" "Jason, he already has 2 kids. "Dad, everyone moves at their own pace. I'll find someone when the time is right." His mother leaned forward, her eyes getting that determined look that meant she wasn't going to give up easily. "We found someone. For you." The words hit Ryan like a cold splash of water. "What do you mean, you found someone?" "Her name is Lisa. She's a nice girl from a good family. Her parents know the Chuns from our church. She's 26, has a good job, and she's ready to settle down." Ryan felt his stomach drop. "Mom, this isn't the old country. People don't arrange marriages anymore. I need to meet someone naturally. Fall in love, all that stuff." His father shook his head. "Love comes after marriage, son. Your mother and I had an arranged marriage, and look how well it worked out. We've been happy for 32 years. "That was different. Times have changed." "Have they really?" his mother asked. "You've been dating for 10 years? And where has it gotten you? Maybe it's time to try a different approach." Ryan stood up, feeling frustrated. "I can't believe you guys are serious about this. What if I don't like her? What if we have nothing in common? What if she's I don't know, weird or something?" His mother pulled out her phone and showed him a picture. "This is Lisa." Ryan looked at the photo and tried to hide his reaction. The woman in the picture was pretty enough, he supposed, but she was clearly overweight. Not just a little bit, but significantly so. She was standing next to what looked like her parents at some kind of family gathering, smiling broadly at the camera. She seemed nice, but she definitely wasn't his type. He had always been attracted to thin, athletic women, the kind who went to the gym regularly and watched what they ate. This woman looked like she probably hadn't seen the inside of a gym in years. "She seems nice," he said carefully, not wanting to hurt his parents' feelings. "But I don't think we'd be compatible." His father's expression hardened. "What exactly do you mean by that?" Ryan knew he was walking into dangerous territory. His parents wouldn't appreciate him being shallow, but he also couldn't lie about what he was thinking. "I just mean we probably want different things in life. Different lifestyles." "You mean because she's not skinny enough for you," his mother said, her voice getting sharp. "It's not about being skinny, Mom. It's about taking care of yourself. Health is important to me. I work out 4 times a week. I eat well. I want a partner who shares those values." His father stood up, and Ryan could see he was getting angry. "Let me tell you something, son. Your shallow attitude is exactly why you're still single at 28. You think you're too good for a nice girl like Lisa, but what exactly do you bring to the table besides your job and your gym membership?" The words stung because there was some truth in them. Ryan had always been picky about women, maybe too. Picky. He had turned down perfectly nice girls because they weren't quite pretty enough, or smart enough, or fun enough. There was always something wrong. "I just want to find someone I'm attracted to," Ryan said quietly. "Attraction grows," his mother replied. "When you get to know someone, when you see their heart, their character, that's when real attraction happens. This obsession with looks is going to leave you alone forever." His father sat back down and looked at Ryan seriously. Here's the deal, son. Your mother and I have been supporting you more than we should. We paid for your college, we helped you with the down payment on your apartment, we even bought you that car when yours broke down last year. Ryan felt a cold dread creeping up his spine. He knew where this was going. If you don't at least meet this girl and give her a fair chance, we're cutting you off completely. No more help with anything. You'll be on your own financially. You can't be serious, Ryan said, but he could see from their faces that they were deadly serious. We've watched you waste 10 years being picky and selfish, his mother said. It's time for you to grow up and think about building a real life with someone. Lisa is a good person. She has a steady job as an accountant, she's responsible, she's kind, and she wants a family. What more could you ask for? Ryan wanted to say physical attraction, but he knew that would only make things worse. The truth was, his parents' financial help had made his life much easier than it would have been otherwise. His apartment was in an expensive part of town that he couldn't afford on his salary alone. His car payments were manageable because his parents helped with the insurance. He had gotten comfortable with their support, maybe too comfortable. What exactly are you asking me to do? He asked. Meet her. Take her on a few dates. Give her a real chance. If after 2 months you honestly don't think it could work, we'll discuss other options. And if I say no, then you're on your own starting next month. Ryan looked at his parents and realized they weren't bluffing. They had obviously talked about this extensively before bringing it to him. This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment decision. They were genuinely worried about his future and frustrated with his dating life. He thought about his monthly expenses. Without his parents' help, he would have to move to a cheaper apartment, maybe get a second job. His comfortable life would become much more stressful. But more than that, he could see how much this meant to them. They really believed they were helping him. Fine, he said finally. I'll meet her. But I'm not promising anything beyond that. His mother's face lit up. That's all we're asking for, honey. Just give her a chance. You might be surprised. As Ryan walked back to his room that night, he couldn't shake the feeling that his life was about to change in ways he wasn't prepared for. He looked at Lisa's picture again on his phone where his mother had texted it to him. She did seem nice, and there was something genuine about her smile. But he couldn't imagine himself being attracted to her. And he couldn't imagine her being attracted to him either. He had always thought marriage would be about passion and excitement, and finding someone who made his heart race. This felt more like a business arrangement, but maybe his parents were right. Maybe his approach to dating hadn't been working. Maybe it was time to try something different, even if it scared him. The meeting was scheduled for the following Saturday at a coffee shop downtown. Ryan had 5 days to prepare himself for what felt like the most important coffee date of his life. The coffee shop meeting went better than Ryan expected, which somehow made everything worse. Lisa turned out to be funny, smart, and surprisingly easy to talk to. She worked as an accountant at a mid-sized firm and had a quick wit that caught him off guard. When she made a joke about how awkward arranged meetings were, Ryan found himself actually laughing, but even as they talked for 2 hours about everything from movies to travel to their families, Ryan couldn't shake the feeling that he was going through the motions. Lisa was nice, really nice. But when he looked at her, he didn't feel that spark he had always thought was essential. She was exactly what his parents had described: responsible, kind, stable. Everything he should want in a partner. Everything except the physical attraction he had always considered non-negotiable. 3 weeks and 5 dates later, Ryan found himself standing at the altar in a small ceremony hall, watching Lisa walk down the aisle in a simple white dress. She looked beautiful, genuinely beautiful, and Ryan felt a stab of guilt for wishing he felt more excited about marrying her. The wedding was exactly what both families wanted. Traditional, modest, focused on bringing two families together rather than celebrating a great love story. Lisa's parents seemed thrilled. Ryan's parents looked satisfied, like they had successfully completed an important project. The couple themselves smiled and said their vows, but Ryan felt like he was watching someone else's life unfold during the reception. As Ryan watched Lisa laugh with her cousins and dance with his father, he realized she was handling this whole situation with more grace than he was. She seemed genuinely happy, or at least genuinely hopeful. Meanwhile, he felt like he was wearing a costume that didn't quite fit. Their honeymoon was a 3-day trip to a nearby resort that Lisa's parents had paid for as a wedding gift. They had separate beds in their hotel room, which seemed to suit both of them fine. They spent the days by the pool and the evenings at nice restaurants, making polite conversation like roommates getting to know each other when they returned home to the apartment Ryan had found for them, a 2-bedroom place that was cheaper than his old 1-bedroom. The reality of their situation really hit. They were married. They lived together now. But they were still essentially strangers who happened to share the same last name. The first few weeks were the hardest. Ryan would come home from work to find Lisa already there, cooking dinner or doing laundry or watching TV. She always greeted him with a smile and asked about his day. She was making a real effort to be a good wife, which somehow made Ryan feel worse about his own half-hearted efforts to be a good husband. Lisa was an excellent cook, which Ryan hadn't expected. She made hearty, comforting meals that reminded him of his grandmother's cooking. Pot roasts and casseroles and homemade bread. The kind of food that made you feel warm and satisfied. But watching Lisa eat these same meals, often going back for seconds, reinforced every shallow thought Ryan was trying to push away. He started working later at the office, finding excuses to avoid coming home until after dinner when Lisa asked why. He told her he was trying to get ahead at work, which wasn't entirely a lie. But mostly he just felt uncomfortable around her. Not because she was unkind or difficult, but because her very presence reminded him of the choice he had made and the life he was trying to convince himself he wanted. Lisa, for her part, seemed to understand that Ryan needed space. She didn't push him to talk when he clearly didn't want to. She didn't complain when he spent entire evenings on his laptop or watching TV in silence. She just went about her business, keeping the apartment clean, managing their finances with the efficiency of someone who did this for a living, and treating Ryan with consistent kindness even when he barely acknowledged her efforts. But Ryan's discomfort started coming out in small, mean ways that he wasn't proud of. When Lisa suggested they go grocery shopping together on Saturday mornings, Ryan would find reasons to be busy. When she put cookies or ice cream in the cart, he would make comments about eating healthier. When she wore certain outfits that he thought were unflattering, he would suggest she try something else. Lisa never argued with him about these things. She would just nod and put the cookies back, or change her shirt, or go grocery shopping alone. Her quiet acceptance of his criticism somehow made Ryan feel worse about himself, which made him more critical, which created a cycle that neither of them knew how to break. 2 months into their marriage, Ryan's friend Kevin invited him out for drinks. Kevin had been one of Ryan's groomsmen and had been asking for weeks how married life was treating him. "So how's the wife?" Kevin asked as they settled into a booth at their usual bar. "She's fine," Ryan said, taking a long drink of his beer. "That's, it? She's fine? Dude, you just got married? You should be telling me how amazing she is, or how crazy in love you are, or something." Ryan stared at his beer. "It's complicated." "What's complicated about it? Either you're happy or you're not." "I don't know if I'm happy," Ryan admitted. "Lisa is a good person, really good. She's smart and funny, and she takes care of everything at home, but I just don't feel connected to her." Kevin looked confused. "What do you mean, connected? You married her." "I know it sounds stupid, but I don't feel attracted to her. Not physically. And I know that makes me a terrible person, but I can't help how I feel." "Are you serious right now? You married someone you're not attracted to? My parents really pushed for this. And Lisa is exactly the kind of person I should want to be with. On paper, she's perfect for me." Kevin shook his head. "Man, that's messed up. What's she like personality-wise? Is she fun to be around?" "She is, actually. When I let myself relax around her, we have good conversations. She has this dry sense of humor that catches me off guard sometimes. And she's incredibly patient with me, even though I know I haven't been the easiest person to live with." "So what's the problem then?" Ryan struggled to put his feelings into words. "I guess I always thought marriage would feel different. more exciting, more passionate. With Lisa, it feels like we're just going through the motions of being married, without actually feeling married. Maybe you just need to give it more time. My parents always said the first year of marriage is the hardest. Maybe, Ryan said, but he wasn't convinced. When Ryan got home that night, Lisa was asleep on the couch with a book open on her chest. She had waited up for him, probably hoping they could spend some time together. Ryan looked at her peaceful face and felt a mixture of guilt and sadness. She deserved better than a husband who was just going through the motions. She deserved someone who would come home excited to see her, who would appreciate her cooking and her kindness and her quiet strength. As Ryan covered Lisa with a blanket and turned off the TV, he realized that their marriage wasn't failing because Lisa wasn't good enough. It was failing because he had never given it a real chance. He had been so focused on what was missing that he had never bothered to see what was actually there, but recognizing the problem and fixing it were two very different things. Ryan had no idea how to fall in love with someone he had married for. All the wrong reasons, even if she was exactly the right kind of person. 6 months into their marriage, Ryan had settled into a routine that felt more like being roommates than being husband and wife. He would wake up, grab coffee, say good morning to Lisa, and head to work. She would have dinner ready when he got home. They would eat while watching TV, and then they would go to their separate evening activities. Lisa would read or work on puzzles, while Ryan would play video games or browse his phone. It wasn't a terrible life, but it wasn't what either of them had imagined marriage would be like. Lisa had stopped trying to start deep conversations, and Ryan had stopped feeling guilty about not trying harder. They had found a comfortable distance that worked for both of them. Or so Ryan thought. The breaking point came on a Saturday evening at his cousin Mike's birthday party. The whole extended family was there, including aunts and uncles Ryan hadn't seen since the wedding. Everyone was in a good mood, celebrating and catching up on family news. Lisa had spent extra time getting ready for the party. She wore a navy blue dress that Ryan had never seen before, and she had done something different with her hair. When she came out of the bedroom, Ryan's first thought was that she looked nice. Really nice. But he didn't say anything, just grabbed his keys and told her they should get going. At the party, Lisa was her usual friendly self. She talked with Ryan's aunts about their jobs and their hobbies. She helped his mother in the kitchen without being asked. She played with the younger cousins and listened patiently to his grandfather's long stories about the old days. Ryan watched her from across the room and realized that his family genuinely liked her. Not just because she was his wife, but because she was easy to be around and genuinely interested in other people. The trouble started when Ryan's uncle Tony had a few too many beers and started making jokes. Tony was the family member who always said exactly what everyone else was thinking but was too polite to mention. He had opinions about everything and wasn't shy about sharing them. "So, Ryan," Tony said loudly enough for half the room to hear, "married life treating you well? You look like you've been eating good home cooking." He patted his own stomach and laughed. Ryan forced a smile. "Yeah, Lisa's a great cook." "I bet she is," Tony continued, his voice getting louder. "Look at her. You can tell she knows her way around a kitchen. Not like these skinny girls who live on salad and complain about everything." Ryan felt his face getting hot. He could see Lisa across the room, talking with his cousin's wife, but he knew she could hear every word Tony was saying. "She's definitely not one of those high-maintenance types," Ryan replied, trying to steer the conversation away from Lisa's appearance, but Tony wasn't done. "Smart man, marrying a girl with some meat on her bones. These guys who marry these skinny model types, they're always worried about some other guy stealing their wife. But you don't have to worry about that, do you?" The comment hit Ryan like a slap. The implication was clear and cruel, and Ryan knew that Lisa had heard it. He looked over and saw her face change, the smile disappearing as she realized what Tony was suggesting. Ryan knew he should defend his wife. He should tell Tony to shut up and mind his own business. He should make it clear that Lisa was beautiful and that anyone would be lucky to have her. But instead, he found himself nodding and giving a weak laugh. "Yeah, I guess you're right," Ryan said and immediately regretted it. The conversation moved on to other topics, but the damage was done. Ryan avoided looking at Lisa for the rest of the party, but he could feel the change in her energy. She became quieter, more withdrawn. When people talked to her, she still smiled and responded politely, but the genuine warmth was gone. The car ride home was silent. Lisa stared out the window while Ryan tried to think of something to say that would make things better. But what could he say? That he didn't mean to agree with Tony? That he was just trying to avoid conflict? That would just make it worse by admitting that he was too much of a coward to defend her. When they got home, Lisa went straight to the bedroom and closed the door. Ryan sat on the couch, feeling worse than he had felt in months. He knew he had screwed up badly, but he didn't know how to fix it. An hour later, Lisa came out of the bedroom. She had changed out of her nice dress and into sweatpants and a t-shirt. Her eyes were red, but she wasn't crying anymore. "We need to talk," she said, sitting down on the chair across from him instead of on the couch next to him. Ryan's stomach dropped. "Lisa, about what Tony said. It's not about what Tony said," Lisa interrupted. "It's about what you said. Or didn't say. I was just trying to avoid making a scene at Mike's party." Lisa shook her head. "No, Ryan, you agreed with him. You agreed that no other man would ever want me because of how I look." "That's not what I meant." "Then what did you mean?" "Because from where I was standing, it sounded like you were relieved. That you don't have to worry about other men finding your wife attractive." Ryan didn't know how to respond because there was some truth in what she was saying. He had been thinking exactly that, and he hated himself for it. "I'm not stupid, Ryan," Lisa continued. "I know this marriage wasn't your first choice. I know. Your parents pushed you into it. And I know you're not attracted to me. I've known all of that from the beginning." Lisa ... Let me finish. "I went into this marriage hoping that maybe, over time, we could build something real together. I thought maybe if I was patient and kind and tried to be a good wife, you might eventually see me as more than just the woman your parents picked for you." Ryan felt like he was being punched in the stomach with every word she said. "But tonight made me realize something," Lisa said, her voice getting stronger. "I don't want to spend my life with someone who sees me as a consolation prize. I don't want to be with someone who thinks I should be grateful that he married me because no one else would want me." "That's not how I see you," Ryan said, but even as he said it, he knew it wasn't entirely true. "Yes, it is, and you know what? I'm done accepting that. I'm done trying to make myself smaller so you feel better about being stuck with me. I'm done pretending that this half-hearted marriage is enough for me." Ryan felt panic rising in his chest. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying I'm going to make some changes. Not for you, not to try to win your approval or your attraction. For me, because I deserve better than this, and deep down, you know I do." Lisa stood up and looked at Ryan with an expression he had never seen before. It wasn't anger or sadness, it was determination. "I'm not giving up on this marriage yet," she said. "But I'm done being the only one trying to make it work. If you want a real partnership with me, you're going to have to decide that for yourself. I can't want it enough for both of us." She walked back to the bedroom and closed the door, leaving Ryan alone on the couch with the uncomfortable realization that his wife was much stronger than he had ever given her credit for, and for the first time since their wedding day, he was genuinely afraid of losing her. The Monday morning after their confrontation, Ryan woke up to find Lisa already gone. Her side of the bed was made, and there was a note on the kitchen counter saying she had left early for work. No explanation, no discussion about their conversation from Saturday night. Just a polite note like you might leave for a roommate. Ryan had spent most of Sunday waiting for Lisa to bring up their fight again, but she had acted completely normal. She made breakfast, did laundry, watched TV. The only difference was that she seemed more distant, like she had mentally stepped back from their relationship. It was unsettling in a way Ryan couldn't quite explain. Tuesday morning, the same thing happened. Lisa was gone before Ryan got up, leaving only a brief note. But this time, Ryan noticed something else. Lisa's gym bag was missing from the closet. They had gotten a joint membership to a fitness center near their apartment as a wedding gift. but neither of them had used it much. Ryan went occasionally, but Lisa had only gone a few times in their first month of marriage before giving up when Lisa came home that evening. Ryan was waiting in the living room. "How was your day?" he asked, trying to sound casual. "Good," Lisa replied, heading toward the kitchen. "I stopped by the gym after work." "Oh, how was that?" "Fine, I'm going to start going regularly." Ryan wanted to ask why, but something in Lisa's tone told him not to push it. She wasn't being rude or angry, but there was a new boundary there that hadn't existed before. Over the next few weeks, Lisa's routine changed completely. She started getting up at 5:30 in the morning to go to the gym before work. She meal prepped on Sundays, filling the refrigerator with containers of grilled chicken, vegetables, and brown rice. She stopped making the hearty dinners that Ryan had gotten used to, instead preparing simple, healthy meals that she would eat whether Ryan joined her or not. At first, Ryan thought it was just a phase. Lisa had tried diets and exercise routines before, usually lasting a few weeks before life got busy and she went back to her old habits, but this time felt different. She wasn't talking about it constantly or asking for his support or encouragement. She was just doing it, quietly and consistently. Ryan found himself making small comments about her new routine, the way he always did when he was uncomfortable. When she turned down pizza for dinner, he would say things like, "Come on, one slice. Won't hurt." When she left for the gym instead of watching their usual evening shows together, he would joke about her becoming a fitness fanatic, but Lisa didn't respond to his comments the way she used to. Instead of explaining herself or apologizing for changing their routine, she would just shrug and continue with what she was doing. It was like she had stopped caring about his opinion, which bothered Ryan more than he wanted to admit. A month into Lisa's new routine, Ryan started noticing physical changes. Her face looked a little thinner, and her clothes were fitting differently. But more than that, she was carrying herself differently. She stood up straighter, walked with more confidence, and seemed to take up more space in a room instead of trying to make herself smaller. The biggest change, though, was in how Lisa spent her time outside of work and the gym. She had started reading self-help books, which Ryan initially thought was silly. He would see titles like The Confidence Code and You Are a Badass on her nightstand and roll his eyes. But Lisa was taking notes in these books, really studying them like they were textbooks. She also started spending time on her laptop in the evenings, working on something she wouldn't discuss with Ryan. When he asked what she was doing, she would just say personal stuff and change the subject. 2 months after their fight, Ryan came home to find Lisa on the phone in their bedroom with the door closed. He could hear her talking, but couldn't make out the words. When she came out an hour later, she seemed lighter somehow, like a weight had been lifted off her shoulders. "Who was that?" Ryan asked. "A therapist," Lisa said matter-of-factly. "I'm going to start seeing someone once a week," Ryan was surprised. "Is everything okay? Are you depressed or something?" Lisa looked at him with that same steady gaze she had given him the night of their fight. "I'm working on some things. Personal growth stuff." "What kind of things?" "Things I should have worked on a long time ago." Ryan wanted to ask more questions, but Lisa's tone made it clear that this wasn't up for discussion. She was making decisions about her life without consulting him, which was new in their marriage. Lisa had always asked his opinion about everything, from what to cook for dinner to what shows to watch. Now she was making major life changes and treating him like a roommate who deserved basic politeness, but not detailed explanations. The therapy sessions became a regular Thursday evening thing. Lisa would come home from work, change clothes, and leave again. She was usually gone for about 2 hours, and when she came back, she seemed calmer and more focused. Around the same time, Lisa started reconnecting with old friends. Women she had known in college or from previous jobs began calling and texting regularly. Soon, Lisa was going out on Friday nights or weekend afternoons, something she had rarely done during their marriage. Ryan realized he had never really thought about Lisa having a social life outside of their marriage. She had always been available when he wanted to do something together, and content to stay home when he preferred to be alone. Now, she was building relationships and making plans that didn't include him. One Saturday, Ryan was playing video games. When Lisa came out of the bedroom dressed up for a girls' day out with some friends from her college days. "You look nice," Ryan said, and he meant it. Lisa was wearing a dress he had never seen before, and she had done something different with her makeup that made her eyes look bigger and brighter. "Thanks," Lisa replied, but without the pleased smile she used to give when he complimented her. "What are you guys doing today? Lunch and shopping? Maybe a movie if we have time." "Sounds fun. What time will you be back?" Lisa paused at the door and looked at him. "I'm not sure. I'll text you if it's going to be late." After she left, Ryan found himself feeling strangely lonely. He had gotten used to Lisa being a constant, quiet presence in their apartment. Even when they weren't talking or doing things together, knowing she was there had been comforting in a way he hadn't appreciated. Now, for the first time in their marriage, Ryan felt like Lisa had a life that was completely separate from him. She had goals and friendships and activities that had nothing to do with being his wife. Instead of feeling relieved that she was becoming more independent, Ryan felt left out. That evening, when Lisa came home laughing about something one of her friends had said, Ryan realized that he was seeing a version of his wife that he had never met before. This Lisa was confident and social and full of energy. She seemed genuinely happy in a way that had nothing to do with him or their marriage. For the first time since they had gotten married, Ryan found himself curious about who Lisa really was when she wasn't trying to be the perfect wife. 4 months after Lisa started her transformation journey, Ryan barely recognized his wife. The physical changes were obvious now. She had lost at least 30 pounds, and her whole body shape had changed. Her face was more defined, her clothes fit better, and she moved with a confidence that seemed to radiate from somewhere deep inside her. But the physical transformation was just the tip of the iceberg. Lisa had become a completely different person in ways that went far beyond how she looked. At work, Lisa's boss had noticed the change too. She had always been good at her job, but now she was speaking up in meetings, suggesting new ideas, and taking on projects that challenged her. When the senior accountant position opened up in her department, Lisa applied without hesitation. 6 months ago, she would have convinced herself she wasn't qualified or that someone else deserved it more. Ryan learned about her promotion the same way he learned about most things in Lisa's life now, after the fact. "I got the promotion," Lisa announced when she came home from work on a Tuesday evening. She said it casually, like she was mentioning that she had stopped for groceries. "What promotion?" Ryan asked, looking up from his laptop. "The senior accountant position I applied for last month. I start Monday." Ryan felt a mix of emotions he couldn't quite sort out. Pride because Lisa deserved recognition for her hard work. Confusion because he hadn't known she had applied for anything. And something that might have been jealousy because Lisa was succeeding at things she had never even told him she wanted. "That's great," Ryan said, trying to sound enthusiastic. "We should celebrate. I'm going out with my work friends tonight. They're taking me to dinner." "Oh, what about this weekend?" "We could do something special." Lisa looked at him with that polite but distant expression she had perfected over the past few months. "I'm busy this weekend. I have plans with Amy and the girls on Saturday, and I'm taking a photography class on Sunday." "Photography class?" "It's something I've always wanted to try. The community college offers weekend workshops." Ryan realized he didn't even know that Lisa had any interest in photography. In fact, he was starting to realize there were a lot of things about his wife that he had never bothered to learn. Lisa's new confidence was affecting every area of her life. She had started dressing differently, choosing clothes that showed off her new figure instead of hiding it. She wore makeup more often, not in a way that seemed like she was trying to impress anyone, but like someone who enjoyed taking care of herself. Her hair was different too. She had gotten it cut and styled at an expensive salon, and it framed her face in a way that made her look younger and more vibrant. When Ryan complimented the new look, Lisa thanked him politely but didn't seem to need his approval the way she once had. The photography class led to other things. Lisa started taking weekend trips to nearby towns and nature areas, capturing images of landscapes and local events. She bought a good camera and spent hours editing her photos on the computer. Soon, she was posting her work on social media and getting comments from people who were genuinely impressed with her talent. Ryan found himself scrolling through Lisa's photos on his phone, seeing places and moments from her life that he had no part in. The pictures were beautiful, but they also made him feel like he was looking at a stranger's life. This wasn't the quiet, homebody woman he had married. This was someone with passion and creativity and a growing circle of friends who appreciated her work. Lisa's therapy sessions were clearly helping her too. She had started setting boundaries in ways that shocked Ryan. When his mother called to complain about Lisa not visiting enough, Lisa politely but firmly explained that she was busy with her own life and would visit when it worked for her schedule. When Ryan made his usual subtle comments about her food choices or activities, Lisa would either ignore him completely or ask him directly why he felt the need to comment. "Why do you care what I eat for lunch?" she asked one day when Ryan mentioned that her salad looked boring. "I don't care. I was just making conversation." "It doesn't feel like conversation when you comment on my food every day. It feels like judgment." Ryan was taken aback by her directness. The old Lisa would have just smiled and changed the subject. This Lisa was willing to call him out when his behavior bothered her. The biggest change came 6 months after Lisa started her transformation. She announced that she was planning a solo vacation to California to visit some photography locations she had been researching. "You're going by yourself?" Ryan asked. "Yes, it's something I want to do." "For how long?" "A week." Ryan couldn't hide his surprise. Lisa had never traveled anywhere by herself, not even overnight trips. The idea of her flying across the country alone and navigating a new city seemed completely out of character for the woman he thought he knew. "Are you sure that's safe?" "You don't know anyone there?" Lisa looked at him with amusement. "Ryan, I'm a grown woman. I can handle a vacation by myself. I just think it would be more fun if we went together." "This isn't about fun, it's about something I want to do for myself." The conversation highlighted something that had been bothering Ryan for months. Lisa was building a life that didn't include him. Not in a mean or spiteful way, but in a natural, organic way that suggested she no longer saw their marriage as the center of her world. When Lisa left for her California trip, Ryan was surprised by how empty the apartment felt. He had gotten used to her presence again, even if they weren't as close as they used to be. Her absence made him realize how much energy and life she brought to their home while she was gone. Lisa posted photos of her trip on social media. Pictures of beautiful coastlines, charming small towns, and artistic shots of everyday objects that she had somehow made look magical. She looked happy and confident in the few photos that included her, like someone who was exactly where she belonged. When Lisa returned from California, she seemed to glow with satisfaction and accomplishment. She had done something challenging and rewarding entirely on her own, and it showed in every aspect of her demeanor. "How was the trip?" Ryan asked when she got home. "Amazing. I got some incredible shots and I learned so much about different photography techniques." She showed him some of the photos on her camera, and Ryan was genuinely impressed. Lisa had a real eye for composition and lighting. Her work was getting better all the time. "I'm thinking about starting a small photography business," Lisa said. "Just weddings and family portraits to start, but maybe more later." Ryan looked at his wife and realized that she had become someone he barely recognized. The quiet, insecure woman who had needed his approval for everything had transformed into a confident, ambitious person with her own goals and dreams. For the first time since they had gotten married, Ryan found himself genuinely attracted to her. Not just physically, although the weight loss and increased confidence were certainly appealing, but attracted to her spirit, her determination, her refusal to settle for less than she deserved. The problem was, he was no longer sure he deserved her. The wake-up call came on a Friday evening when Ryan got home from work to find Lisa getting ready for another night out with friends. She was wearing a black dress that he had never seen before, and she looked stunning. Not just because of the weight loss, but because of the way she carried herself. She moved with purpose and confidence, like someone who knew exactly who she was and what she wanted. "You look beautiful," Ryan said, and he meant it more than any compliment he had ever given her. "Thank you," Lisa replied, but her tone was polite rather than pleased. She was putting on earrings and didn't really look at him. "Where are you going tonight?" "Amy's friend is having a birthday party. There's going to be dancing and dinner." "Sounds fun. What time will you be home?" Lisa paused and looked at him in the mirror. "I might not come home tonight. Amy said I could stay at her place if it gets too late." Something about the way she said it made Ryan's stomach drop. It wasn't just about convenience or safety. Lisa was making it clear that she had options, that she didn't need to check in with him or rush home to take care of him. "Oh, okay." Lisa finished getting ready and grabbed her purse. "I'll see you tomorrow." After she left, Ryan sat on the couch and tried to figure out what he was feeling. It was a mixture of loneliness, regret, and something that felt uncomfortably like panic. For the first time in their marriage, he was genuinely worried about losing Lisa, not because she was threatening to leave, but because she was becoming someone who might not need him anymore. Ryan spent that Friday night really thinking about his marriage for the first time in months. He thought about how Lisa used to light up when he complimented her and how she now barely seemed to notice. He thought about how she used to ask his opinion about everything and how she now made decisions without even mentioning them to him. He thought about how she used to plan her evenings around his schedule and how she now had a social calendar that was completely separate from his. Most of all, he thought about how much more interesting and attractive his wife had become and how little he had to do with any of it. Saturday morning, Lisa came home around 10 o'clock, looking tired but happy. She was wearing the same dress from the night before, and Ryan couldn't help but wonder exactly what kind of party it had been, and who else had noticed how beautiful his wife looked. "How was last night?" he asked, trying to sound casual. "Really fun. Amy's friends are great. We talked for hours about everything: work, travel, books, life goals. It was nice to be around people who are all trying to grow and improve themselves." The comment felt like a subtle criticism of Ryan, who had spent his Friday night playing video games and eating takeout pizza. "That sounds great. I was thinking maybe we could spend some time together this weekend. Maybe go see a movie or try that new restaurant downtown?" Lisa looked at him with surprise. "That would be nice, but I already have plans. I'm meeting with a potential client this afternoon about photographing their wedding, and tomorrow I'm taking another photography workshop." "Oh, what about next weekend? I can check my calendar." The fact that Lisa needed to check her calendar to see if she had time for her own husband was a reality check that Ryan wasn't prepared for. When had she become so busy? When had her life become so full of activities and people that didn't include him? Over the next few weeks, Ryan started paying more attention to his wife in a way he never had before. He noticed how she hummed while cooking breakfast, how she smiled when reading text messages from her friends, how excited she got when talking about her photography projects. He noticed that she was reading books about business and creativity, that she was learning about marketing and social media, that she was building something meaningful with her new skills. He also noticed how other people responded to her. When they went grocery shopping together, the cashier chatted with Lisa like they were old friends. When they ran into their neighbor in the lobby, the conversation naturally centered around Lisa's photography work and her recent trip. Even the mailman seemed to know about Lisa's business and asked how it was going. Ryan realized that his wife had become someone that people were drawn to, someone who made conversations more interesting and who brought positive energy wherever she went. She had always been kind and thoughtful, but now she was also confident and engaged with the world in a way that made her magnetic. The most shocking moment came when Ryan overheard a phone conversation between Lisa and one of her college friends. Lisa was in the kitchen making coffee, and she didn't realize how clearly her voice carried to the living room where Ryan was reading. "I know it sounds crazy," Lisa was saying, "but I'm actually happy for the first time in years. Like genuinely happy with who I am and what I'm doing with my life." "What about Ryan?" her friend asked. "What about him? Are you happy with him too?" There was a long pause that made Ryan's heart race. I don't know, Lisa said finally. I'm not unhappy with him, but I'm not sure we have much in common anymore. I've changed so much in the past year, and he's exactly the same. Do you think you'd be happier without him? Another pause. I think I'd be fine without him. That's the weird part. A year ago, I couldn't imagine being on my own. Now I know I could handle it. I don't need him to take care of me or make me feel worthwhile. If we stayed together, it would have to be because we actually wanted to be together, not because I was afraid to be alone. Ryan felt like he had been punched in the stomach. His wife was openly discussing the possibility of leaving him, and she sounded completely calm about it. Not angry or hurt or desperate, just practical, like she was discussing whether to switch car insurance companies that night. After Lisa had gone to bed, Ryan looked at himself honestly for the first time in years. What did he bring to their marriage besides his physical presence? What had he done to deserve Lisa's love or loyalty or even her companionship? The answer was uncomfortable. He brought nothing except expectations and criticism and a general assumption that Lisa should be grateful to be married to him. He had spent their entire marriage treating her like she was lucky to have him, when the truth was becoming clearer. Every day, he was the lucky one, and he had been too blind and selfish to see it. Ryan realized that he was in danger of losing the best thing that had ever happened to him. Not the quiet, insecure woman he had married, but the confident, successful, interesting person she had become. The woman who could handle a solo vacation, build a business, maintain friendships, and create beautiful art. The woman who had transformed herself from someone who needed his approval into someone whose approval he desperately wanted. For the first time in his adult life, Ryan understood what it meant to truly want someone rather than just settling for them. And he was terrified that it might be too late to do anything about it. The conversation that changed everything happened on a Tuesday evening in November, almost a year after Lisa had started her transformation. Ryan had been working up the courage for weeks to have an honest discussion with his wife, but every time he tried to bring it up, Lisa seemed busy or distracted or simply not interested in talking about their relationship. That Tuesday, Lisa came home from her photography workshop looking tired but satisfied. She had been working on a series of portraits for a local art gallery, and Ryan could see the creative energy radiating from her even when she was exhausted. "How was class?" Ryan asked as Lisa kicked off her shoes and settled onto the couch. "Really? Good. We worked on lighting techniques for dramatic portraits. I think I'm finally getting the hang of it." "That's great. Your work keeps getting better and better." Lisa looked at him with mild surprise. Compliments about her photography were rare from Ryan, who usually seemed more interested in his phone than in her projects. "Thanks," she said cautiously. Ryan took a deep breath. "Lisa, can we talk? Really talk?" "About what?" "About us, about our marriage. About how I've been a terrible husband and how I want to change that." Lisa set down the camera bag she had been organizing and looked at Ryan with full attention for the first time in months. "Okay, I know this is going to sound like too little, too late, but I need to say it. I've been watching you over this past year, seeing how much you've grown and changed, and I realize I've been an idiot." "In what way?" Ryan struggled to find the right words. "I spent our whole marriage thinking you were lucky to be with me, when the truth is I was lucky to be with you. I was so focused on what I thought was missing that I never saw what was actually there." Lisa listened without interrupting, her expression neutral. "You're amazing, Lisa. You're smart and funny and talented and strong. You've built this whole successful life for yourself, and you did it while dealing with a husband who barely noticed how incredible you are." Ryan, "Please let me finish. I know I don't deserve another chance. I know I spent months criticizing you and making you feel bad about yourself. I know I agreed with my uncle when he said cruel things about you, and I know I made you feel like you weren't good enough when the truth is I'm the one who's not good enough." Lisa's eyes softened slightly, but she didn't say anything. "I want to try again, really try this time. Not because my parents want us to stay married or because it's convenient, But because I'm finally seeing who you really are, and I think we could have something real together, what exactly are you asking for? Chance to be the husband you deserve. A chance to get to know the person you've become. A chance to see if we can build something based on actual partnership instead of obligation. Lisa was quiet for a long time, and Ryan could see her processing everything he had said. When she finally spoke, her voice was careful and measured. I appreciate you saying all of that, Ryan. I really do. But words are easy. You've had almost a year to notice these things about me, and you're only saying them now because you're afraid I might leave? The accuracy of her observation stung, but Ryan knew she was right. You're not wrong, he admitted. But sometimes it takes the fear of losing something to make you realize how much it means to you. I know that's not romantic or noble, but it's honest. What would be different this time? I don't know exactly, but I know I need to change, not just hope that you'll go back to being the person you were before. I need to become someone who deserves to be with the person you are now. Lisa looked at him for a long moment. What does that mean practically? I think I need therapy, like you did. I need to figure out why I was so shallow and critical, and why I thought I was entitled to someone's love without earning it. This seemed to surprise Lisa. You want to go to therapy? I want to understand why I treated you the way I did. I want to work on becoming a better person, not just a better husband. And what about our marriage in the meantime? Ryan had been thinking about this for weeks. I think we should start over, actually start over. Date each other properly. Get to know each other as the people we are now, not the people we were when our parents arranged this marriage. You want to date your own wife? I want to court my wife. I want to earn your trust and your affection instead of just expecting it because we have the same last name. Lisa leaned back on the couch, considering this. That's an interesting idea, but I have conditions. Okay, first, you actually have to follow through with therapy. Not just go a few times and quit when it gets uncomfortable. Real, honest work on yourself. Done. Second, you have to accept that I'm not going to go backward. I'm not going to become the quiet, accommodating person I was before. I like who I am now, and I'm not changing that for anyone. I don't want you to change. I like who you are now, too. Third, you have to build your own life. I'm not going to be your only source of entertainment or companionship. You need friends, hobbies, goals that have nothing to do with me. Ryan realized that Lisa was essentially asking him to become a more complete person, which was both intimidating and exciting. And fourth, Lisa continued, you have to accept that this might not work. I might decide that we're better as friends than as married couple. I might decide that I'm happier on my own. You can't do this work just to win me back. You have to do it because you want to be a better person. The possibility that he might lose Lisa even after changing everything about himself was terrifying. But Ryan knew she was right. He couldn't transform himself just to manipulate her into staying with him. I understand, he said. I accept all of those conditions. Then we can try. The next week, Ryan called a therapist that his doctor recommended. Dr. Martinez was a middle-aged woman who specialized in relationship issues and personal growth. Their first session was uncomfortable in ways Ryan hadn't expected. Tell me about your marriage, Dr. Martinez said. My wife is amazing, and I've been a terrible husband, and I want to fix it. Let's start with why you think you've been a terrible husband. As Ryan tried to explain his behavior over the past year, he heard himself making excuses and justifications that sounded pathetic even to him. Dr. Martinez had a way of asking simple questions that forced him to confront uncomfortable truths about himself. You mentioned that you weren't attracted to your wife when you married her. Can you talk about what attraction means to you? I guess I always thought it was about physical appearance. And now? Now I think I was confusing attraction with fantasy. I was attracted to an idea of what a woman should look like rather than to an actual person. What changed? Ryan thought about watching Lisa come alive over the past year, about seeing her confidence grow and her talents emerge, about the way she lit up when she talked about her work. I learned the difference between wanting someone and wanting to be with someone. It was the most honest thing Ryan had said in years, and it felt like the beginning of something important. 2 years later, Ryan stood in the kitchen making coffee while Lisa edited photos on her laptop at the dining table. It was a Saturday morning, and golden sunlight streamed through their apartment windows. But this wasn't the same apartment they had shared as newlyweds. 6 months ago, they had moved to a bigger place with a spare room that Lisa used as her photography studio. The transformation in their life together had been gradual but complete. Ryan looked over at his wife, who was completely absorbed in her work, adjusting colors and lighting on a wedding photo from last weekend's shoot. Her business had grown beyond anything either of them had imagined. She now had a waiting list of clients and had even been featured in a local magazine as one of the city's most promising young photographers. "Coffee's ready," Ryan said, bringing Lisa a mug prepared exactly how she liked it, black with just a touch of cream. "Thanks, babe," Lisa said, looking up with a genuine smile. "Can you look at this shot and tell me what you think? I'm trying to decide between this edit and the warmer version." Ryan had learned to give thoughtful feedback about Lisa's work, not because he was an expert in photography, but because he had taken the time to understand what she was trying to achieve with each project. He looked at both versions carefully. "I like the warmer one for this couple. Remember how they talked about wanting their photos to feel cozy and intimate? The warmer tones support that feeling better." "You're right. I was thinking the same thing but wanted another opinion." These moments of easy collaboration had taken time to develop. The first year of their new marriage had been challenging in ways Ryan hadn't expected. Learning to be partners instead of roommates required unlearning old habits and building new ones. Therapy had been harder than Ryan anticipated. Dr. Martinez didn't let him get away with surface-level changes or quick fixes. She pushed him to examine why he had been so focused on appearance, why he had felt entitled to Lisa's devotion without earning it, and why he had confused being married with actually building a relationship. "You treated your wife like an employee rather than a partner," Dr. Martinez had said during one particularly difficult session. "You expected her to manage your life and cater to your preferences, but you never asked what she needed or wanted from the marriage." The insight had been painful but necessary. Ryan realized he had grown up watching his father treat his mother as a support system rather than an equal partner, and he had unconsciously replicated that dynamic. Learning to be truly interested in Lisa as a person had been a revelation. During their dating phase, Ryan discovered that his wife was funnier than he had ever noticed, more ambitious than he had given her credit for, and more interesting than he had bothered to find out. She had opinions about politics and art and travel that she had never shared during their first year of marriage because Ryan had never asked. Their first real date had been awkward but promising. Ryan had asked Lisa to dinner at a restaurant she had mentioned wanting to try, and he had spent the entire evening asking her questions about her goals, her thoughts on current events, and her experiences growing up. By the end of the night, he felt like he was getting to know a fascinating woman who happened to be his wife. "I had no idea you were so interested in social justice issues," Ryan had said as they walked to their car. "You never asked," Lisa had replied, but without bitterness. "To be fair, I never volunteered the information either. We were both just going through the motions of being married without actually connecting." Building his own life had been another crucial piece of the puzzle. Ryan had joined a photography group to better understand Lisa's work, but ended up discovering his own love for the hobby. He wasn't as naturally talented as Lisa, but he enjoyed the technical challenges and the excuse to explore new places. He had also reconnected with old friends and made new ones through his hobbies and volunteer work. Lisa had been right that he needed a life outside their marriage. Having his own interests and friendships made him a more interesting partner and took pressure off Lisa to be his entire social world. The biggest test of their rebuilt relationship had come 18 months after their fresh start. Lisa had been offered an opportunity to photograph a destination wedding in Italy, followed by a 2-week solo trip through Europe to build her portfolio. The old Ryan would have found reasons for her not to go, would have made her feel guilty for leaving him, or would have insisted on coming along. Instead, Ryan had encouraged her to take the opportunity and had helped her plan the trip. He had used her absence to visit his own family and to take a weekend camping trip with his photography group. When Lisa returned glowing with excitement and full of stories about her adventures, Ryan had felt genuine pride in her accomplishments rather than resentment about being left behind. How was it really? Lisa had asked him after she had finished showing him her photos from the trip. Were you okay with me being gone for so long? I missed you, Ryan had said honestly. But I was also excited for you, and I enjoyed having time to focus on my own projects without feeling like I was neglecting you. That conversation had marked a turning point in their relationship. They had both realized they had created something new together, a marriage based on choice rather than obligation, on mutual support rather than dependence. Now, as Ryan watched Lisa work on her photos, he felt grateful for the strange journey that had brought them to this point. Their arranged marriage had forced them together, but their decision to stay together was entirely their own. What are you thinking about? Lisa asked, noticing Ryan's contemplative expression. Just how different things are now compared to 2 years ago. Different how? 2 years ago, I was married to someone I barely knew and didn't appreciate. Now I'm married to someone I genuinely like and respect and choose to be with every day. Lisa saved her work and turned to face Ryan fully. You know what's funny? I was just thinking something similar. 2 years ago, I was married to someone whose approval I desperately wanted but never got. Now I'm married to someone whose approval I appreciate but don't need. Is that better? So much better. I love you because I want to, not because I need to. And I know you love me for who I actually am, not for who you think I should be. Ryan reached across the table and took Lisa's hand. I'm sorry it took me so long to see what was right in front of me. I'm sorry I spent so long hiding who I really was, Lisa replied. We both had growing up to do. Their second wedding anniversary was coming up in a few weeks, and they had planned a small celebration with close friends and family. It would be nothing like their first wedding, which had been about fulfilling family expectations and social obligations. This celebration would be about 2 people who had chosen each other, learned from each other, and built something beautiful together as they sat together in their kitchen, planning Lisa's upcoming art show and Ryan's next photography workshop. They both understood that their love story hadn't begun with their arranged marriage. It had begun when they decided to do the hard work of becoming people worthy of each other's love. Their transformation hadn't been about changing who they were. It had been about becoming the best versions of themselves and discovering that those best versions were perfectly compatible after all.